I wonder, man. It's a good question.
No, it's not.
Over at the bottom
this is
left.
a StarCraft map, Wolf. That's not a good question at all. You silly goose.
We have our Protoss player from the team StarTale looking great in the last game. He is.
Party.
Notice how I just tried to force the intro on you and tried to shut you down?
I saw that. I won't be denied, Wolf.
Looking, you know, a little bit tired in the face, but not in his gameplay. His opponent up here at the top right, a very strong Terran player. Everyone looking forward to him in Code S. He is.
STC.
I really feel that one of the strengths of the STC when he first started playing StarCraft II was how good his macro was and how defensive he was. And nowadays it seems like he wants to be the aggressor. And I wonder what sort of game we're going to see from him in the second game, because with how that last game played out, I would want to either be even earlier aggressive and maybe do some sort of siege tank build, or maybe play more macro-oriented style, get a fast third command center like we see from a lot of Terrans these days, getting that fast third in the main base, doing something like that. Because to play a straight-up game where you macro decently but you get aggressive in the mid-game against someone like Parting who's practiced against that and shown great defense against that time and time again may not be what he wants to do here.
Could not have said it better myself. And you know, to go back to what his old style was and why perhaps he changed it, you know, I always looked at him and thought, wow, you make really great decisions in game. This is actually very impressive. But nowadays, with players like specifically Marine King and several other Terrans as well, they're showing such great results with like all-out crazy micro-based aggression. So I feel like a lot of Terrans are trying to switch up their style and copy that, thinking, wow, well, maybe this is the way to play. When in fact, you know what, oftentimes it's just better to play stylistically the way that you're comfortable.
Yeah. I just really feel this mid-game aggression is the way the future of most Terrans in Korea feel is for TVP. But against Parting, it is just so difficult to pull it off. It looks like he is going to do something a little bit weird over here. He's going to hide a factory.
Look at those stats, Wolf.
Yeah, that is...
At around 9 minutes, he always wins, and around 25 minutes, he always wins. That is a sick, sick stat.
Yeah, that is really sick.
Parting...
Wow,
if he gets to a 25-minute game, has never lost.
That is actually
Think about that. And that points back to what you just said. You have to kill this guy early.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to play it later with stats like that, ooh.
And, you know, because of this, I think that's why we're seeing this proxy factory. It's exactly what I mentioned earlier, is if I'm STC here, I don't want to play a straight-up game against him. I want to do some sort of tech build. It may involve siege tanks, may involve Banshees. In this case, it's very obviously going to be Banshees. There's a slight chance it's a Hellion drop or something like that.
Yeah, well, based upon where the factory is, I actually think it's going to be a Hellion drop because, you know, there's no real room here for an add-on, I don't think. That would hit the geyser, would it not?
Yeah, you may be right. And he's definitely hesitating a little bit with his starport.
There we go, 100 gas. And, yeah, this is definitely going to be a Hellion drop then. So, a Hellion drop, and he's actually playing against Gate Robo Gate. Okay. I know everything about Gate Robogate against Proxy Hellion Drop. First off, do we have the Stalker out? Yes, we do. We have a single sentry out, second sentry on the way. Now, he's probably going to have his units up towards the front, and the drop will be coming around the time the Observer is over there.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit tough. If he can figure out that this is what's coming, then he's going to be in great shape because you can actually get the right units. But most of the time, you're going to make the Nexus. Oh, my God. 100% when he's won the first set.
And that's not even just like a 2-0, like sometimes these stats are, it's an 8-0. That's actually really cool.
So, all right.
But
so
yeah, go on with what you're
there's
saying.
two ways that you do the Gate Robo Gate build. One of them is you make the Immortals and attack, 2 Immortals and go. But the other one is exactly this. Off of when you're making your first Observer and you have 2 sentries and 1 Stalker, you go ahead and make that Nexus, which gives you very few minerals to actually make more units to stop something like a Hellion drop. So unless he gets into position miraculously extremely fast, he's going to be in a ton of trouble.
Yeah, he definitely will lose a few probes here. I think it depends on how he deals with this. He does see the drop now right away, and there's 1 Stalker coming back here, but he's already starting to lose probes now. A great force field. Blocking these Hellions off. Wow, beautiful force fields there.
Yes, indeed, and still killing a few probes. 4 killed so far, a good drop. But it looks like Parting just way too quick there. That was some amazing speed. He pulled those probes the second this started, but still Parting has to be careful.
Gotta be careful, does not want to lose these expensive sentries.
Yeah, if you lose those sentries, this drop was still very good. He does kill the medevac, so that's quite nice, and throws up a blind Guardian shield just to make sure those Hellions can't kill too much more. And wow, I got to hand it to Parting. He saw that so quickly.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Back at home for the STC, he does have a third command center going up. He's going to send his starport back. He's adding additional barracks, excuse me. Wow. And I really, I have to stress that Parting also, after he held it off, he targeted the medevac down immediately instead of trying to kill the Hellions, because first of all, the Hellions are harder to kill anyways, but secondly, killing the medevac means that it's very unlikely he's going to have to deal with a second drop. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He does have the ability to move out on the map a little bit if he wants to now. So I like that choice to target down the medevac. Yeah,
you always want to be targeting down medevacs the second that you've disarmed a drop. That is completely true, and we see a lot of Protosses mess up on that. Also, you got to take into consideration it's a proxy starport, so the next medevac is way off. They have to fly home with that thing.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it, man. I have to say again, I'm so surprised that he only lost 5 probes. I was thinking this drop was going to kill 8, maybe 9 probes.
Yeah, I was thinking about 8 as well.
The difference between that is actually a lot. That really, really slows you down when you lose that many probes this early. But as is, Parting is in great, great shape. But STC very smartly has gotten that triple command center.
Yeah, and since this is cross positions on Antigua, he has the ability to do that very, very easily and safely. It's a great transition out of what he's done here. And this type of proxy starport is not all in any way. It's a very nice opener on this map. I really, really like what he's done with it. And he didn't do a ton of damage, but he still has the Hellions alive. He now has that second medevac, but Parting is completely prepared. Well, actually...
Well, he has 3 stalkers up in the north part of the main, and SimCity's pretty good. So, yeah, that was perfectly done. The way his buildings are placed is just magnificent to defend against something like that.
Notice he also has the Immortals and the Hellions at his natural, just in case a Bioforce runs in case some more Hellions are about. I really like how he's been able to split his force into 2 groups. He's very nicely pressuring these Hellions back. And see, now he's actually able to move out on the map a little bit. And the STC may have to bunker up a little bit here because this is a pretty strong force moving across.
Yeah, when you have 2 Immortals and then just random other stuff with them and an Observer, you can harass the Terran quite a bit. And see, he knows it too. Yeah. This is a scary attack coming across.
This definitely is. This is going to be a tough one to deal with. The bunkers may even be a little bit too late here. If he actually commits now and goes now, he's going to be able to do a ton of damage.
Yeah, Stim is only halfway done, man.
He's hesitating a little bit here, though, with the pylon. That means these bunkers will finish.
And there are some Hellions going across, but 4 Stalkers should be enough to hold this off very easily.
Great scouting by Parting to know this is coming.
Yeah, I am just so impressed with Parting right now, man. He is looking just at the peak of his skill.
And even if this attack does nothing, he's forced that many bunkers.
Yeah, that's a lot of lost mining time. In fact, SCVs continue to come back because he knows how scary a double Immortal push can be so early in the game.
And look this, he's going to pick off the SCVs.
So beautifully done. He just traded 4 force fields for a whole bunch of SCVs. And now he's killed 6 workers as opposed to the 5 that were killed by that draw. Great moves by Parting.
Yep, saves that Immortal. Nice pullback here. Robotic support bay going to go down, and that's going to allow him a little bit more pressure abilities as well. Does he know, has he seen that 3rd command center? That is something I'd really be interested to know. His observer's near, but I'm not sure if he's seen it.
He has.
Okay, so he has seen it.
He knows exactly what's going on, but it hasn't been mining yet. He's doing a great job pushing back a little bit, and we will not see Parting commit very much more than this. If he goes any further up that ramp, then he's going to be walking into a sick Terran concave, and Stim is done. So he wants to pull back and get his Colossi, which he's teching up to, which is exactly what he's doing because he's Parting.
Yeah. And he is going to drop a 3rd Nexus here by the looks of things. At least he's looking like he very much wants to. Now, the question is, he only has 1 Forge, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a slight variation here. Some players would go with double Forge, but with this Colossus pressure, I like the 1 Forge. You save a little bit of gas. And he knows his opponent has a faster 3rd command center. That's a great choice to make. Get that robotic support bay when your opponent has a faster 3rd. He knows that the starport was probably up there. He's even sending Stalkers to try to catch it.
Oh my God, he almost
man. That was so close.
That was pretty darn close.
Well, that drop's not going to do anything now.
No, and oh my. Oh, okay. I was like, is he going to fly into those? He knows it's there. But no, he's going to try to drop out Stim and catch them off guard here. Now I'm looking at what Parting's doing. It looks like he's getting ready for another base, but I could see him just doing a Colossus timing as well, because at this point, he's got like a very scary army and so many Stalkers that's going to be almost impossible to kill off those those Colossi
Yeah.
until there's a ton of Vikings out, which right now we have none. He's just really trying to get a lot of medevacs.
I like how Parting is just making this decision because he killed some SCVs with that attack, but he didn't really eliminate any of his opponent's army. So he knows the army of the STC is basically really, really powerful right now, really scary. To make the third Nexus, he might hold it, but to sit back, get these Colossi up first gives him two options. He can take the Nexus later with a lot of defense, or he can actually attack with the Colossi. He doesn't even have to take the Nexus. I like his patience here.
Yes. You know, with a Gate build, you're normally going to want to wait and take the third base a little bit later, or do the timing attack. You don't want to take it too quickly because Colossi, of course, actually is not very mobile, even though it can walk up and down cliffs.
Yep, very true. And I like this engagement for Parting. The SCC wants to go in there, but because he's waited, he's done this so patiently, he just does not have enough units yet to pressure that Nexus.
Yeah, and you know, there's plenty of force fields for Parting, getting those force sentries out really early on. They have plenty of energy. He can just dictate any battle that happens here. So right now he's just playing perfectly, just defending against drops, trying to scout out what the STC is doing, and patiently taking his third, building up to a truly incredible army.
You know, the STC right now is in a tough spot with Vikings. He's even made a second starport. Oh, this is a big commitment by the STC.
Yeah, that is quite a big commitment. In fact, he's attacking another location at the same time, and he does call the Stalkers, but the medevacs are gone, and uh-oh, it looks like his Colossi a little bit out of position
Yeah,
here.
his Colossi getting crushed, and the STC, that's a pretty good trade already. He will lose the majority of his units in the main. The one thing, though, to note is he does not get the Nexus. He gets the Colossi, though, and I think that's pretty much good enough.
Yes.
Getting the Colossi or the Nexus is good here because he was desperately trying to build up that Viking count, and now he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He can actually make a Ghost Academy fairly soon as well, knowing that Storm is on the way.
That's right. That was the first sloppy thing we've seen out of Parting here today. To let those Colossi go in the wrong direction, that is something that has changed the whole course of this game. He would have been in a dominating position, even losing all those Stalkers. But instead, now it's very close. And in fact, the STC has taken a supply lead here.
Yeah, there are so many Zealots in this competition. The STC can comfortably kite this. It looks like he's going to back up for now. Not as comfortable as he saw, okay, that's a lot more Zealots than maybe I predicted. He's going to pull back here. He could have engaged a little bit, but he's going to decide to be safe here. His factory is seeing all. Now the second forge is going up here. You do see +2 armor is on the way. 1-1 upgrades are already out, though, for the STC.
Oh, and I think we're going to have a big drop coming up here in a second. No, he does turn around after scanning the triple Templar that was waiting for him. Good moves by STC. If he had gone into that triple Templar, things could have gotten gross.
This game is actually really even now. I felt like Parting had a huge lead, especially with tech. And now they lost those Colossi. He's going to be a little bit desperate to defend this base, but not really more than the STC is to attack it right now. He really wants to make something work here. He's trying to fly his Vikings into the main base to perhaps catch a Colossus being rallied out. Wants to check for those Templar as well.
Well, he does have Storm at this point, but no High Templar in this
I
army.
don't like this engagement for Parting. This is a really bad place to engage. The Terran army with a concave on the other side. Not a good place to fight.
Yeah, he's got to be careful now. The SCC's getting a little bit out of control. He's up by almost 20 supply, but finally the High Templar do come down.
He needs these storms.
Nice storm. Nice storm again. Now we do have a Ghost Academy, but no ghosts have been produced yet. They are just being started at this moment, so for a little bit, Parting is going to be okay.
He just has so many Zealots in his competition. He's not engaging this as well as he could be.
His High Templars didn't come with his army that time.
Oh, no, they did not. And the Vikings are doing some harassment in the main. I feel like Parting is falling apart a little bit here, Artosis.
Yeah, it really does look that way. He counted on having those Colossi in his army. You don't want to be battling like this if you don't have the Colossi, because if you're going for like a charged Zealot type composition, you need that third base quicker so that you can actually produce enough that when Terran's kiting you, it's still okay. Yeah. But in this case, it's not okay anymore. So he's having a really hard time holding on.
Yeah, the STC engaging in the right place every time and time again. We're going to see some Zealots try to go and do some harassment, but there are not enough units here to defend this drop. Parting is a little bit out of position, and again, he's trying to engage this army. He can't fight it right now, not without storms. He needs to have his High Templar with him.
Another big drop in his main base. I feel like Parting is not long for this
world.
No,
he's definitely not. The Templar falls here, and he is warping in units to die at this point.
He does have a couple of Storms, so maybe he can save this base, but ghosts are coming up. One EMP hits one. The other Storm does, in fact, go off, but it looks like the STC in the main base is just, he's done way too much damage.
He's done way too much. His upgrades are better for quite some time, and it looks like this game is going to end fairly soon, but you know, with how he's cleaning up this army, he's even up the supply a little bit more, but I feel the reinforcements are just going to be too much. Plus, that Nexus has gotten low on hit points. If he targets the Nexus down, the STC's economy is going to be out of control by comparison.
Well, we do have another base being taken, kind of a hidden one.
Yeah.
I don't see that really doing very much. In
No,
fact,
he can't get probes over there. He's going to try, but if those get spotted, man, as they probably will.
Yeah, this is the end for him, man. Seeing those probes is a huge deal. A bunch of Archons going to go down from these nice EMPs.
Yep, this is the end here. Even though the supply is not that different, it's just enough. He has that critical army that he's able to keep pushing further and further with. The probes were spotted, so he's just going to probably pick up and drop that base at this point.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, Parting's starting to warp in units over there. He realizes, uh-oh, this is going to be rough. And just making a bunch of Archons. So, I mean, that's a lot less storms that he could have, and he needs cost-efficient splash. Archons at this point aren't that for him.
Yeah.
At this point in the game, Archons need to be something that are mostly tanking and dealing a little bit of damage rather than the bulk of your splash.
Exactly. He needs more. He needs those storms to hit. Looks like +3 armor is now going to be on the way for Parting. That's one leg up. He may be able to get on his opponent if the game continues much further, but I'm just not sure that it will.
Oh, a nice little drop to 3 Archons way out of position. Going to take them a while to get down there, and the huge army coming as well at this moment. Looks like he's going to stim and run up there. This base definitely going to be taken out. Meanwhile, Parting may be going for like a counterattack or something, but I don't know what this is actually going to do. It's such a small force.
He's going to catch reinforcements off guard here, which that's something the STC has been a little bit sloppy about. Normally you see a Terran army just kind of sit back at home until it has a big group. And he's going to do some damage here, but once he hits the main base and those production facilities, he's not going to be able to go much further.
Yeah, well, he is about to lose everything off over there. Harassing a little bit at the 3rd doesn't really matter. There's a 4th base up for the STC. But it looks like he actually held on to his 4th base. That's actually really impressive.
Yeah, somehow, some way, the STC didn't feel comfortable with that army moving across the middle of the map. It's going to take out the majority of it now on its retreat. And this game it was kind of looking like it was finished, but Parting is trying to edge his way back in here. The 3rd base is still up. His worker count is 70 to 53 here. He needs to rebuild his Templar army, get a lot of Zealots back out here. If he can hang on a little bit longer, his upgrades are also spinning here. If he can hold the center, if he can actually get that center and attack that base that the STC is getting up here, he may have a way back into this game. It's all going to come down to this fight, I think.
Oh, well, he has a lot of side storms coming up, and some are going out. He has to be careful, though. The bulk of his army very low on health right now. And, oh my god, everything's just coming in. Looks like all these high Templars will go down. Some do turn into an Archon.
Nice Archons there.
Yeah.
And actually, this fight going a lot better than I predicted it to. And Parting, man.
How did Parting actually get his supply back up in the lead? The STC being a little bit too clumsy everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like his army, he lost so many reinforcements. Parting knew just where to attack, and now Parting has taken a supply lead. He's going to be able to take control of the center if he wants and attack those SCVs.
This is madness, Wolf. He took that very risky 4th base. He sent the probes through an army. And, I mean, then he just warped in 6 high Templars, turned him into Archons. He barely, with that counterattack that was a suicide, got the STC to pull out and kept that base alive. And now here we are, and he has taken the supply lead. This makes no sense.
It makes no sense at all. The STC, I think, feels... I thought we're going to have an engagement here as these units are trying to break up the center. But as I said, the center here is just so important. How is he really going to fight now?
Yeah, this is getting pretty tough here. Now, we do have 3-3 finishing for both players in just a second. The STC not getting a big army together. He has a little bit of money bank. He really needs that 1,000 minerals in units right now. Also, his medevac's very low on health. We do see it battles absolutely everywhere. And it looks like Parting somehow.
He's looking like
that's
he's
ridiculous.
GG. I have a lot to say about this game.
I have so much to say.
I've never seen a comeback like this in PvT before in my entire
career. That game was basically over. That 4th base seemed completely illogical. And you know what?
He never killed the 3rd Nexus.
Yeah.
That's the big problem. Parting had such a great amount. He took a risk. He powered up so many gateways. If he had lost that 3rd Nexus, he wouldn't have been able to afford to remake it. Then he took the 4th base, which was a risk. And because he had so much production, that was the first key. And I feel like the second key was catching so many of the STC's reinforcements. He should not have been rallying that far across the map.
Agreed. He should have been rallying right into between his 3rd and natural and then walking his army back periodically to reinforce it. You know, by rallying across the map, you're basically saying you're dead.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. The game is over.
Yeah, that's when they are stuck up their ramp. When you're both running around in the middle of the map, you can't be doing that, because if it does get caught off guard, suddenly you lose a lot of units that do 0 damage whatsoever. And can't believe Parting held that base. The STC was not decisive enough to take out the 4th base there.
I mean, he had so many great engagements. We were calling that game over. We were like, oh, he's dead.
Oh,
no chance.
Yeah,
he should have been.
Guys, you don't see comebacks like that every day.
No, you do not. And I feel like the STC more so lost that game than Parting won it. But Parting made all the right choices. He never gave up. He was like, if you make enough mistakes, I can come back here. And that's exactly what he did.
Yes, and you know what? After he lost those 2 Colossi, I mean, when you do the build he did and lose the 2 Colossi, it spirals out of control very quickly. Those Colossi have to be worth a lot for a very long time in that game. Until you have Psystorm, you can't lose them.
Yeah, he picked the SEC picked off those Colossi, and then he knew exactly how to control the engagements. He knew, all right, that was what you invested your tech in for a little while. Now you're going to have to rely on force fields to engage my army, so I'm going to attack you at the 3rd at that ramp, where no matter what, if you're a Pros player who doesn't have a ton of zealots and you're not flanking from the other side, you're never going to fight a cost-effective engagement there, and he knew exactly where to fight. And from there, he got a huge lead. I just cannot believe Parting was able to come back.
I'm still in shock about that 4th base, man. I have never seen a Protoss take a base like that, get it scouted, and keep it alive in a situation like we just saw.
He panicked after he rallied his units and he saw his Protoss units coming. He was like, I have to send my unit back to the main base rather than killing this Nexus. He panicked a little bit. I think he actually could have defended with his units rallying out and killed the Nexus, but he panicked. He sent all of his units home. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and if he had killed that off, then that big surge of Parting would have been stifled quite a bit, and I think the STC wouldn't have died right there, and maybe could have rallied a defense around that planetary. Hard to say, but wow, what a game.
That was definitely a game that I did not expect to end that way.
No, indeed not. Well, all right.
That was actually really intense.
It's time for a break, Wolf, so that we can recharge and get ready for this next match in this sick group of death. I am Artosis, he is Wolfless, and we will be right back.